So it was singing in the family and also singing in the church. I used to love singing in the church. We had a big old church. You could fit maybe 400 or 500 people in that church. And we do all the old hymns, Abide by Me, and they were great with the big organ and everybody singing together. I loved that. And at school too, when I went to boarding school in Dublin, and we would all sing together, all these guys, and that was really fun. I think that's where my love of singing came from. So although I was never really great at playing instruments, that's something that came much later. I had this love of singing that came from growing up with music all around, with singing all around in the church and in the family. So when I was a kid, I had some piano lessons, but I was learning from the nuns. And the nuns are probably very nice people in real life, but in the piano room, they just turn into kind of monsters. And it was just this indecipherable mess of music on a page, and it never made any sense to me. And we just practiced scales, and I never learnt a single tune, I think, from the nuns, who are probably very nice people. Music education, for me anyway, in Ireland was pretty awful at that time. I really admire the education system for music in Japan, much, much better, where kids actually learn to read and write properly. Um, we'd sing in school sometimes, but it was really with my family on the long road trips, and you'd sing the Rattling Bog or a lot of these old songs, and they go on and on. And it was a way to get the kids to behave in the car because there were five of us. We go on these long journeys up to Donegal or over to Sligo, and that was a lot of fun. Let's see what else in secondary school, what you call high school in the US, I guess. I learned flute, and again, it was pretty awful education looking back. We never had any actual lessons. We were just given a flute and sort of told to play. And I was better than the other players, but none of us could really read music properly, and we never really learned how to play the instruments properly.
Lovely. Lovely.
That's a tune, the only tune probably I could play on flute as a kid because it was really easy. In fact, there were three flute players in my school band, and that's the only tune that any of us could play because we couldn't even read sheet music, and we pretended to when we were in the orchestra. But that was nice and easy. Amazing Grace. How you do, like do do do. And then the priest asked us to play in the church one night because he heard us playing Grace, or he heard us playing that song. But what he didn't realize was he couldn't play. We couldn't read sheet music, and he had it in E flat or something like that. And so all the singers were singing in E flat, and I think there was a clarinet player playing on his own because we couldn't play it. But the singing was nice. Yeah, Amazing Grace. That's Mercy Durkin. That's the first tune I learned on mandolin. I saw these guys playing bluegrass mandolin up in the mountains at a festival in Japan years ago. And I thought that's amazing. And I still cannot play any of that stuff. But mandolin is such a beautiful instrument. This is one that I bought in London years ago. I was completely broke. I had just had my first wedding and I was in London. I had no money, but I saw it in the window. It's such a beautiful, I think it's koa wood. Really, really beautiful, lovely sound. Jean Lavoie mandolin. And I went in, played it for 2 days in London, and then I took out my credit card and said, yes, 500 installments, please. And I'm very proud. You never regret buying a good instrument. So, way back in 1991, I had just graduated from university in Dublin, and I was offered a job in Japan. So I came to Japan in October 1991, and then at Christmas, December 1991, I got this Christmas card from a friend, Chris, back in Ireland. And I opened up the card, and it was very funny. It said, "Greetings to the land of the rising sun from the land of the rising pint." So I thought, what a great line, the rising pint. So a few years later, when we got the band together, I remember that and I thought, this is a great name for a band.